there!
I'm Evelyn.
And I'm Pablo.
Welcome to the Transcript. This week, the Transcript evaluates the political climate after last week's election, meets with the conservative population at NHS,
Catches up with the new cheer team, investigates life in the MSTCA, and welcomes foreign exchange students to the school.
On Wednesday, the UK Prime Minister Theresa May's cabinet gave the go-ahead to draft a Brexit plan. The next day, May's chief negotiator quit, followed by several other members of government. For now, it's unclear whether or not the UK Parliament will sign off on May's plan. In Florida, the races for senator, governor, and agricultural commissioner were incredibly close, with victory margins of under 0.5%, triggering a recount. Florida counties had until 3 o'clock on Thursday to provide results. If the margin is under 0.25%, it goes to a manual recount. The California wildfire's death toll has risen to 59, with dozens of people still unaccounted for. The fire has destroyed upwards of 9,000 homes and forced at least 50,000 people to evacuate. With rain in the forecast, locals are now worried about possible mudslides.
Hi, my name is Seraphina Foreman.
And I'm Willa Sipple. Welcome to Tell It Like It Is.
After the midterm elections, the nation's party politics have been as polarized as ever.
In Northampton especially, people who don't identify as a Democrat or agree with the overwhelmingly liberal agenda are sometimes not represented.
We hear a lot about inclusivity in this environment, which raises the question of how far does this inclusivity extend?
We wanted to take a closer look at the conservative population at NHS, so we sat down with former Young Republicans advisor Whitney Russell to understand why he supports the conservative platform.
I am a conservative Democrat. So a conservative Democrat isn't quite natural to Northampton or New England. The Democratic platforms have evolved from my first vote, which was the Kennedy era back in the early 1960s. They've changed more to be progressive, socialist, and radical. And Republicans have shifted to the right. So there's a chasm in the middle, and I've tried to find a way of being in that middle ground. I wince and turn away from more excessive extremes, though there have been moments in my life when I myself have gone there, usually mistakenly. I would encourage tolerance and acceptance and open hands rather than closed.
We wanted to speak with some conservative students at NHS to get a sense of what it's like to be a conservative in an overwhelmingly liberal climate.
I generally support more conservative platforms because I have always sort of thought of government as something that's more wasteful as opposed to being effective in solving issues. I do sometimes feel out of place, but generally people are pretty accepting of opposing views, if a little confused. Generally, I try to keep politics out of my normal day-to-day interactions. I disagree with a lot of the Democratic platform. I'm conflicted on a few things Republican, but generally I'm just a constitutionalist, so I sort of stick to what that says, and I think it's pretty clear-cut on most things.
Regardless of what we support, it is important to realize that we are all human beings and should be treated with dignity and respect.
Thanks for watching. This was Tell It Like It Is.
Hi, I'm Lulu. Welcome to HAMPED space UP.
Y'all ready for this?
If you've been watching sporting events this fall, you may have noticed that the cheer team is back in business. The cheer team was missing in action last year, which was a disappointment for some and inspired now captain Jesus Gonzalez Matos to campaign for its return. Now, after successfully bringing back the cheerleading team, the cheerleaders are prepping for their second season of the year. I sat down with captains Jesus Gonzalez Matos and Kyra Cottle to learn about the new team, season, and their original goals for getting it back.
Well, I actually met last year at the end of my junior year with Kara, and I guess the reason why was because I felt like there was something myself that I wanted to do, but sport-wise, but there wasn't really a sport that I kind of connected with. And I knew that cheerleading, I've always wanted to do it. Knowing that there wasn't a team, I felt like that I wanted to push for it to come back.
What's unique about this specific group of cheerleaders is we all come from very different backgrounds, very different places. We all live very different lifestyles, but when you put us all together, we're literally just one big person. And I think that's the most unique thing about us all. My favorite sport to try is definitely basketball.
A typical practice, every day our coach comes with a different plan. So typically we do conditioning about 2 or 3 times a week. The rest of it just calls for going over new cheers or learning new ones or going over the ones that we already have. And also just doing some bonding activities.
For anyone that wanted to join winter cheer, I would tell them to make sure that they bring their A game, because we're definitely not playing this season, and to be open to new ideas and stepping out of their comfort zone.
Tryouts for the cheerleading team will start on Monday after Thanksgiving. In other sports news, cross country has a state championships on Sunday at Stanley Park, and football will have a Thanksgiving game at 10 a.m. in East Hampton. Thanks for watching Hamped Up. I'm Lulu Kesson, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hi, I'm Alexa, and welcome to The Leftovers. This past Saturday, there was a rally in Pulaski Park surrounding the events of the ongoing Mueller investigation. With the gathered results from the 2018 elections, we wanted to look into the generational divide in this year's voters.
That must move forward in the United States Congress with respect to whether or not this president has committed any impeachable offenses. So when we talk about protecting the Mueller investigation, we need at the same time to talk about demanding that this Congress start impeachment proceedings now against this president.
We talked with Massachusetts State Rep Lindsay Sabadosa to discuss the importance of young voters.
I am always excited by the amount of young voters who turn up for elections, and it can always be better. I would really like to see more first-time voters at the polls every single time, just right on up. We're looking for 100% voter turnout in all demographics. One of the things that I'm really excited about is potentially lowering the voting age as well, so that we can get more people involved in the democratic process. I'm really excited that the Democrats were able to take back the House. That was really the goal of the election cycle. I think it's very easy to get caught up and say, oh, but we didn't, take the Senate and all of the other offices, which I think we all wanted. We really wanted to see a tsunami, and we didn't quite get that. But we also have to acknowledge that the voting in districts have been set up in a way to make that really hard, and taking back the Senate is much more difficult, because even though more people voted for Democrats than they did Republicans based on how those state lines work, Republicans got an even greater control of the Senate. So that's hard, because we know that appointments go through the Senate. At the same time, it is really hopeful to see the House, which better represents the people's voices, go to the Democrats.
This was The Leftovers. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Amelia Tamayo. Moylan, how worried should we be about climate change?
Well, according to the most recent IPCC report, we only have about 20 years.
In other news,
let's get ready to rumble!
last Saturday was the Western States Championship meet for cross country. This event is organized by the Massachusetts State Track Coaches Association and the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association. The top 3 teams for boys and girls varsity go on to compete for state championship and then all states. We went all the way to Stanley Park in Westfield to talk to the coaches and officials who put this event in motion.
The MSCCA is the largest high school coaches association in the United States. And what we do is lobby on behalf of high school track programs with the MIAA and with the state legislature. Our job is first and foremost to do what's best for the sport. And that's not often the focus of an individual high school coach. Obviously, their focus is going to be what's best for their athletes. We have to take a more global view and do what's best for the sport and what's best for all of the athletes.
It's huge. Actually, we're giant partners. So most of the MSTCA invitationals, you'll see our tents, you'll see our Bay State running tent, which basically kind of like interviews and kind of makes things a little bit more interactive for all the athletes that are on the course. We give them a free website, free subscriber information and everything like that too, so that way they can kind of keep up with everything that's going on across the state. You know, Marathon Sports does a lot, actually, you know, sponsoring a lot of the events that we do indoors for Reggie Lewis, outdoors as well. We're trying to work into the Western Mass region a little bit, so to kind of bring some of those events a little bit more, you know, kind of stir things up a little bit more out of the western, you know, side of the state.
We also got a chance to speak with the fastest varsity athletes in Western Mass right after their races.
It feels really good.
This is your third time winning, right?
It's my fourth, yeah.
Fourth time winning, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm so happy, like felt better than last week, and it's just like, I'm so glad that Western Mass and States are on this course, because this is kind of like where it was my freshman year in Circle Pole.
It feels good. I got second last year, I think, and that was, I'm happy with it. I think I got like pretty similar times. It was at a different course, but yeah, it felt really good.
Thanks for watching, and congratulations to Northampton cross country team for qualifying for state championships. Bye!
Hey, I'm kind of busy this week. You guys got it? Okay. Cool. And welcome to the...
Welcome to the other stuff. We're your hosts.
This week, we're going to be discussing the new transfer student program NHS is going to put in practice.
That's right. They're going to be people from other countries, including China, Japan, South Korea, Europe, and Cleveland.
Isn't that swell?
To show off our great town, we decided to make a promotional video showing off all of Northampton's great feats.
Before we started filming, we thought we had to get the students' point of view on this new program.
Nobody knows what that is.
What is that?
We had to cut this interview short due to some vulgar language that we cannot air. Welcome to beautiful Northampton, or as most call us, the most politically liberal medium-sized city in the United States.
Here in Northampton, we have an incredibly plethorable history and a deep culture, full of a multitudinous range of veritable factoids.
That's right. You may not know that Northampton is the home of George Washington Cable, the first modern Southern writer.
Isn't that a fun fact? And something else you probably didn't know is that this is the birthplace of your favorite comic book characters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yours and a half shell, which reminds me, the food here. Don't even get me started on the food.
Okay, Northampton is home to some of the best schools in the country. We're talking Smith College, Leeds, Bridge Street, and who could forget NHS.
Home of the fearsome Blue Devils, undefeated every season, and the greatest teachers money can buy.
We've got great bathrooms, fantastic school lunch, and a secret pool on the 4th floor.
So, Charlie, am I to understand that you and your friends put this whole project together? Doing all the, filming the school and all the great things we have to offer here? Yes. And the goal was that for incoming students, they would get a sense of Northampton High School, and you were very proud of it, and you put hours of work into this? Well, I need to tell you, that is fantastic, and I'm very, very impressed. And it would be great, it really is, it's really great, but we just don't have a transfer student program. So on that note, good job.
Thanks for watching. Almost Maine still has 3 shows left, tonight at 7:45 and tomorrow at 2 and 7 p.m.
It's $5 for students and staff and $8 for the general public.
Hope you can make it.